Okay.
You're going to believe this, are you? Let me just stop this. I'm sorry. I was all ready. I was completely ready.
Is it broken?
Yeah.
Facebook.
We are live. Hello. We are in pursuit of the truth regarding mental health. And we are with Harry Derbitsky and Joe Fletcher and Nicky. And as you can see, there's so many people here to tell us their stories today. So, Harry, thank you for coming today and telling us about the truth regarding mental health. Please do tell us why we are here today.
Hi, everybody. First of all, we're here to discuss and ask any questions, participate, and enjoy. Basically, this group started through an organic vision where we started. You see, John Stiley and I started. John contacted me, and the purpose of all coaching that I do is I'm not looking to impress people. I'm not looking for you to follow me. I want you to see the truth within yourself. And when you feel that spirit inside yourself, you know what to do in regards to any of your problems that you have. So all of us are going to tell you a transformation story, except me, I guess, but I have one too. And in that transformation story, you'll see, oh, everyone accessed their own wisdom, their own spirit, and grew to a place of mental health rather than uncomfortableness with regards to their past, to their story, to what they thought they were. And John was the epitome of that. John contacted me and he said, I like your spiritual message. I'm tired of all the psychological stuff out there. He didn't say it quite like that, but that's what he was. And so we started to get together, and John's image of himself was, well, I'm kind of a cool guy, but I got a lot of loser images in my head. And so we started to talk, and we didn't talk about any of the problems. We just soared. We just got into the good stuff. And we just loved it. It was just so beautiful. And as we're getting into the good stuff, we are growing. See, that's the trick. When you touch truth, the person who's supposed to be the lead is the one learning the most. It's not the other way around. But in this case, we were teaching each other so much. So we so much looked forward to our getting together. But John had a problem. It was such a simple little problem. It wasn't all the description of what the world had told him he is. Even though we soared into these beautiful feelings, absolutely beautiful feelings of spirit, the surprise was John didn't see it. Because he'd come back, we'd meet again the next week, we'd soar again. And then one time I said to him, can you see your own beauty? I'm not going to do that face thing again. Well, maybe I will. Okay. So John goes like this. I know, I love that face. And all of a sudden, he sees his own beauty. He had never looked at how beautiful and wise he is. So that was a massive change. He went in and out a little bit, but I just kicked him a little in the bum, and he popped back into the feeling. the positive feeling. And then another guy came. So now we had two. And then the vision came. I says, wow, nobody's going to listen to me. Nobody. I've never taken a psychology course. What am I? I'm a 3 principles educator from my teacher, Sydney Banks, who was enlightened. I'm sharing what I have experienced, not what he taught me, because all he told me was it's inside me, not inside the man, not inside the doctor, not inside the medicine, not inside all that stuff, inside me. And I walked in my own evolution to freedom. So we had two. Then Joe came. So we started a closed group. It's not an open group, it's a closed group by invite only. And Joe came. And the group was cozy and comfortable. And Joe came with questions and energy and stuff. And all of a sudden, we did a talk at the, what was it, Joe? What was the name of the?
It was Phoenix Group.
A Phoenix Group, and it was beautiful. And the vision started to emerge. What people in the world out there, they don't want to listen to truth or wisdom. What they want is fruit, proof, and they want to hear the proof talk. That became an understanding that I had. You're not interested in hearing a bunch of words. You want something that works. They're going to tell you what works in their own story and their own way. Are they perfect? No, I haven't found anybody yet who's perfect. But are they together? And so 3 came, then Mark came, and then Nicky came, and then Kerry has gently joined our group. And within that context, each person who comes, the level goes up. You know why the level goes up, guys? Spirit. That's why it goes up. It's not the individual. It's because we're all have a common purpose. The common purpose is to share love. And the sharing of love means the sharing of understanding of how you can access love. That's what love is. It's not just a nice feeling, it's how you can access it and release it and explore your unlimited potential. It sounds strange when you talk to people in mental health or mental illness or suicide, or how you're talking about their unlimited potential. That's where you're looking for. You're looking for that. And how does the group operate? You know, we had a big discussion. What am I? Well, I'm not, I don't mentor the group. So I don't want to mentor the group. So they came up with, I'm the lead coach, but we all coach each other. That's the feeling you want. When you bring your spirit along, you leave behind that mental material world. You enter into that spiritual world, that world where we call unknown. And you get comfortable in it because that's who you are. You are unknown. Adrian, who do you know the least? Adrian, that's who he knows the least. Nicky, who do you know the least? Nicky, you just have all these thoughts and all this stuff. So the group started to emerge. Joe and I just did a beautiful talk together at another two mental health therapists got together and did a podcast. So we're interested in sharing our stories, our wisdoms, and showing you have the same. We're not ahead of you. Everybody's the same on the inside. On the outside, we're all different, you know, and that's what the world concentrates on. Ferizzi, or what, it has an interesting name, but she's the same as Harry inside. She knows that. She knows that. But the problem is the world is going da, 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 and you started to believe things. And so we started to want to share a vision of hope and a vision of truth that the mental health field is messed up. So we want to help people to see the same thing we see. Truth will set you free. Not, doesn't matter the circumstances. It just doesn't matter. It's the healing power of the universe. You are hooked in, plugged into that, except you pretend you're not from time to time. Well, welcome to the club. So do I. Welcome to the club. So I've given a little song and dance. The group is called Pursuit of Truth Regarding Mental Health. The purpose of the group is the fruit of the tree, each person sharing their story with you. Come and join us. Today, you're with us. Come and join us. Ask questions, discuss what ideas, and who would like to go first? By the way, we're so well organized, we decided we just figured, well, whoever feels like. John, you want, since I mentioned your name, do you want to start first?
John? Yeah. Okay, Harry. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to say what I found to be my experience, and talk a little bit about how we met as well, because that was quite significant. I mean, so like I've been in the mental health experience of psychiatrists and psychologists, and a patient, that is, for many years. Mental breakdowns and anxiety, panic, totally lost and everything, confused and messed up, for years upon years, from a very early age. And so I would be in and out of psychiatric wards and mental health wards for many years, up until only around probably 4 years ago. And then I decided, because I ended up on all the drugs that were available, that the doctors would give you, all the forms of antidepressants, and all, many different ones. And 4 years ago, I said to the doctor, "Oh, these ones aren't working. They're not working. Can we try something else?" Which is something I did very often. So I've taken many different forms of antidepressants. Only this time, it was a bad experience, a really bad experience, and the drugs didn't suit me. As I was changing these drugs, I couldn't sleep. For about 6 weeks, I couldn't sleep. And it just went steadily downhill. And they tried their best, these people. They were good people. They were only doing their best. And I found that in the area of mental health and psychology and all these people are doing their best they can from their own level of consciousness. And so they did their best, but it didn't work. It was a horrific journey at the time. But the difference was this time around was that I'd started to learn to use the internet and YouTube. And as I was looking into it for answers, a certain guy kept turning up on the screen called Eckhart Tolle. And I started hearing a different message. And with Eckhart Tolle, a lot of other different spiritual teachers came in to the picture, and I started hearing different messages, a completely different message to what the psychiatrists and the psychologists were telling me. And a little bit further down the line, 3 principles came along, and I started learning about that. And these spiritual side of things, they were telling me to look inside myself, that the answer I was looking for was inside, that I needed to look inside myself. Now, previously, all I had ever done was go to everyone in the whole wide world that I could find outside of myself, in the mental health people, psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever, and ask them for the answers, look into them for the answers, and they would give me drugs, antidepressants, in order for me to get better. But they never worked. Never once worked. And I spoke to psychiatrists, psychologists for years. Never got anywhere. But when I started to look inside myself, I became aware, and looking at spirituality, that the answer was inside me. But as you do that, and you go inside, you find that there's this other wall there. It's called the veiling of life and the conditioning of life. And you start to look inside yourself. You go inside, you start to look at this veil that's been put up, the conditioning. We've had the conditioning of mental health people, psychologists and psychiatrists. And it's a bit scary at first, you know? And that has its own little problems that you have to overcome. But from my experience, my life has begun to change. It's not perfect, but it's begun to change because I went inside looking for my answers and not outside to the world.
So I just want to say, when I talk about seeing his beauty, he's talking about going inside. He went inside and saw the fact, not the opinion. He saw something absolute. And when he could soar with the beautiful feelings, but he did not associate himself with where that was coming from. Yeah. He was still seeing it from outside of himself.
Yeah.
That I'm just wanted to emphasize that, John.
Yeah. I mean, so going back to what you said earlier, Harry, obviously, when we would talk about spiritual stuff, it was great, you know. It would lift me high, you know, my consciousness would rise and everything was good. But when I would fall back into the trap, as you would say, of thinking about my illness, then I would go down. So Harry, as he was saying, would be lifting me up, and I would soar on the spiritual side of aspect and see things completely different.
I didn't lift you up.
It came from within me. Yeah, it came from the inside me. You guided me there, but it came from within me.
I didn't guide you. I just followed your energy.
Yeah. We have got a question. Nicky wants to ask you a question. Just unmute your mic, Nicky, please. Go ahead, Nicky.
Hi. So I think my camera's gone off now.
It's all right. Nicky's partially sighted, so just give a sign to put your camera back.
Sorry guys.
It's all right, put your camera back
on. Hold on. Oh, I can't even see it.
It's all right, we'll wait. It's okay.
Hold on. It says that done speaking. Nicky speak. Anyway, so I'll just speak. So like I identify so like with so like some of that, so like the higher so like spiritual so like thing. I mean, so like I'm an ex so like alcoholic, and so so how can I describe it? So when I used to have a drink, I used to feel calm and peaceful, so like and stuff. But so like it was so detrimental, so like to so my family. I have so like young so children, but at the same time, it was about what I wanted, not what was good for everybody. And so like I did so used to attend church, so which I found so like very comforting, and so like still so like do so I still respect it, but it's not so for me. And I don't know, so like just so like being at peace. But so like I think so for me, so from my point of view, so we all have a different so like inner peace. So like what might make one person calm and feel wonderful might not work for somebody else. So I mean, so like I've had like psychiatrists as well, because I've had certain mental so like issues. So so I'm still taking medications that like for that citalopram and risperidone at night time. Not a big dose, but so I'm still so like on it. And I don't know. So like for me, explaining things to them. Oh, okay, well, so like yeah, you will experience that, but so like take this, and then so like that will ease away. But so like I think so I need to find like my inner peace. But so like in order to do that, it's almost like I'm having so like to dissect so like myself, because
Just a sec.
I
Okay,
don't know what the problem
Nicky,
is.
okay, good. We'll try and we teach the 3 principles. We have a psychotherapist as part of our group. Although maybe let her take a stab at answering your question, and then we'll ask a few others to see, because it's a very relevant question. Because you're right, if you don't feel an inner peace, you're not going to experience inner peace. And we're not pretending about that. It's not a pretense thing. It's a reality that you're experiencing. Nicky, how would you deal with her question if she came to you, or just from your own personal experience, etc.?
Hi, Nicky. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Nicky to Nicky. Oh, this is
Yeah.
Double trouble.
Yeah, definitely. So as you're talking, as you were kind of explaining and talking about your situation and how you feel, what kind of came to my mind is that peace that you're looking for, that some people find in religion and others find in alcohol, like it's actually our default setting. So that peace of mind that we look outside ourselves, we're sitting in the middle of it always. But the biggest distraction for us, regardless of kind of like the things that we go to look for it in, like religion or alcohol or drugs or positive and negative things, it doesn't really, it doesn't matter. We go looking for it.
Yeah.
The biggest distraction, the thing that takes us away from that thing that is innately ours, that we were born with, is our misuse of thoughts.
Yeah.
So
I think it was a bit like escapism. So like for me, say so like I'd had so like a bad day. So when I used to so like work stressed out or whatever, so like come home, oh no, so I've got this to do, I've got that to do. I'll go get so like a bottle of, I don't know, vodka. So like have a drink, and everything used to feel fine. So like that's so like how was it like used to, but now so like I don't do that.
Because actually, if you kind of unravel all of that, the thing
Mm.
that was causing you to want to have the drink to find peace of mind was the thing that I was kind of saying was misuse of thought. So what I
Yeah.
mean by that is you go out into the world and you live your life. You know, you go to work, you interact with people, like your boss upsets you, like you hate
Yeah.
your job, your kids are annoying, your partner drives you insane, you know, whatever it is, like the globe, the pandemic, the traffic on the road, like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's just life though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And actually,
Yeah.
to
And so
see
like I
that-
think that like for me, I wouldn't call myself a coward, but so I just wanted something so like to put a patch on it, you know,
Yeah.
so like oh so like I'll just have that, then everything is fine. That's how I
Yeah.
used to like view it.
Yeah, and like, yeah, you and like pretty much every human being, we're always kind of trying to micromanage our experience.
Yeah.
And sometimes we we manage and control it in positive ways, like positive,
Hmm.
whatever that is, and sometimes negative. Like I don't really, I'm not really placing any judgment either way. It doesn't really matter because actually all of it is unnecessary, and all
Yeah, I
of
mean
it
mine turned
is
into so like
needed.
addiction. And
Yeah.
so like I ended up in hospital, so like on a psychiatric ward twice, so like for hallucinations and just so like unreasonable so like behavior. And so like that's why so I'm on the medication so like now. So
Yeah.
I mean so like I don't know so like if I was to stop it, because there's been so like a few so like years, but so like if I was to stop it, would I be okay? But then again I have the doubts creeping in. But so
Yeah.
if I do stop it, is that so like is what is keeping me on the so level?
Welcome.
So like I'm a
Can
bit
I
scared so like
can
to
I
stop
just
that.
Yeah, well, look, just really, really quickly on that, because I think Harry wanted to say something, but really quickly,
Mm.
like, you know, you should always, whenever you're kind of taking any kind of medication, if you're going to come off, you always need to come off like under the guidance of a GP,
Of
that, you know,
course, yeah,
regardless. But,
yeah.
but all of your fears and all of your anxieties about you know, what will happen and what will it be like, and this is
Yeah.
all created through thought. And what we try to point you back to in kind of what we're sharing here is we're trying to point you back to who you really are and what you have at your disposal in terms of like the intelligence of the universe, the spiritual nature of yourself, the innate mental health that you were born with, and any mental health diagnosis or
Mhm.
description, or you know, it's just an indication of where you are, never who you are.
right.
Yeah, different points in your life, I suppose, so like you respond to things in different sort of ways. Like my 20s, so like year old self would probably deal with something sort of totally different to so like my 42-year-old self. So as of
Yeah.
today. So
Yeah.
yeah, time and place, I think that that's probably so like a lot to do with it as well.
We
Nick,
we
Nikki,
gotta be mindful that there are hands going up here that I can see.
Oh,
as well.
sorry. So I haven't
No,
got
no,
so
no,
like
no,
the
no,
screen on. Sorry.
no, don't apologise. And I'm still want to go back to John as well as get through everyone as well. In regards to your psychosis, because I know a little bit about Nikki's journey. Nikki was having psychosis when she was an alcoholic, past tense. Okay.
Yeah.
Nikki no longer drinks, and that's where you might want to discuss that with your providers that watch your medication, Nikki, because you're unaware of your abilities now, and that issue that you once had is no longer there. It's been
Mm-hmm.
3 years at the end of this year, 3 years sober.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But
Hold down.
you know,
So you might be
yeah.
able to sort of take one more step into another conversation and wants to ask a question or pose questions
Of
around what
course. Yeah.
you've heard as well. And I know that we've got lots of questions as well, but we do want to hear other people's stories as well. And go ahead in relation to
no,
Yeah.
just a sec,
I just,
just a sec here. Just, we're still on this topic. Let's.
If we're still here, we're
No.
still staying here.
Just, shh, 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 shh. Okay, okay. So, Mark, you have some direct experience with what she's talking about. why don't you share something that you see with regards to that?
Yeah, I could relate to more or less everything that Nicky was talking about. As I, from a teenager, suffered from started suffering from anxiety attacks, um, periods of depression, and I was prescribed diazepam by the doctors, which did stop the anxiety attacks, but then got me addicted to diazepam.
Yeah.
I also, at the same time, I was functioning as a person, I will say, with this sticking plaster on my anxiety, which I thought was fantastic because I could function and work by while taking the diazepam. But then I also had an accident where I injured my back badly on a scooter, and that was in my mid-30s, I think, and I started taking over-the-counter painkillers. And taking the over-the-counter painkillers then led me to actually buying the codeine illegally and using the codeine and becoming addicted to codeine.
Yeah.
That was then. And one thing that I didn't realize until I came, because the 3 principles was exactly what Nicky was saying earlier, which was everything that I was experiencing at the time, the pain, including the pain, anxiety, the pain, and depression, the root of that was in thought. When I heard that from Sid Bank's readings and the principles, I thought, well, is that possible? And if you Google it, there's a well-known doctor in America who teaches, Dr. Sarno, who professes for people with back pain that actually the back pain can be 99% of back pain is induced by thought, negative thoughts. One prime example of this, as I was talking to another member of the 3P organization, was I was in the queue at Sainsbury's waiting to pick up my groceries. And I knew it was quite a long queue. And I thought, okay, here comes my back pain. But with the awareness through the 3 principles that this back pain was caused by my thought, I thought, yeah, I'm feeling frustrated because I'm in a queue. And then I decided to think, well, think something, not make a deliberate effort, but be aware that this negative thinking that I was experiencing was actually causing the back pain. As soon as I stopped thinking in that way, the pain disappeared. I used to have to go to bed every night, and I bought a big box of them, box of these pads to put on your back. The back pain, I no longer need those because I know that back pain which I was experiencing was formed in thought, and that's really is profound. I can't say, I'm privileged to be a member of this community, but I can't say I'm not at all. I'm perfect. And one great example of this is that this week, I was thinking of ways to make myself happier, and one way what I thought would be to actually sell my house and move somewhere else. And it was only today I had the realization But actually, the happiness was in here. It wasn't outside. I would not achieve happiness from anything external. The happiness could be obtained quite simply through thought. And the wonderful spiritual part of the three principles, which I really enjoy, is knowing that we're all connected. Everybody's connected. I don't tie myself to any label. If I had a label, I would have to go to Narcotics Anonymous and say, "Hello, my name is Mark. I'm an addict." Well, I'm not an addict. I went through a process that woke me from that addiction. So I'm no longer an addict. I can actually take the substance that I was taking in an addictive form now, use it once, put it down again, and then not think about it again for 3 weeks. No, whereas if I went to Narcotics Anonymous, I would have to reinforce the label at every meeting by standing up and saying, "Hello, my name is Mark. I'm an addict. And oh, by the way, last week I took codeine." Well, hold on. Last week I had back pain, or I'd really injured myself on the gate, putting the bins out, and I had a real back pain that I knew wasn't thought. So I took codeine for it. Fine. Next day, I didn't need to take it again because I didn't have the pain. And it's in the feeling of being part of a community, of being one, in the oneness. You'll hear this being I mentioned in the three principles. To me, that's like, I feel as if when I get my peace of mind, and I do get my peace of mind so much more now in a profound way. And I think that we're all connected. Everyone is connected in a way. And that's, I'm just like, if water is H2O, I'm just like a molecule of water in an ocean, an infinite ocean, which is everybody else. And we're all connected in that way. There's something important I was going to say. I'm trying to think what it was.
It's good, Mark. It's good what you shared.
It's all important.
But yeah, if it comes back to me, I will say. But yeah, it's that awareness, and I know John mentioned the work of Eckhart Tolle, and Eckhart Tolle had obviously heard of Sydney Banks, the works of Sydney Banks, and the most profound statement in that there in his books is that everyone is just one thought away from mental health, and it's true.
Very true.
Absolutely true.
Can I I think I'm going to ask these questions after. There's quite a few questions that I picked up, quite a few similarities in events. And bearing in mind that every member of this group, majority, not everybody, from what your group is, Harry, has achieved elevated a level of mental health after experience of transformation. And that's what I'm getting from what you've written here, experience of various forms of mental health. So I'm hearing addiction. I'm hearing reliable on a source other than the thought process. The apprehensive, particularly with Nicky's case, whether she steps forward to discuss with her GP about medication and psychosis and moving on to the next step. Important that you do that in a sense, Nicky, so you're not held back. Think about it, explore it, all right, because you're not where you once was. I'm hearing also John also saying that coming to Pursuit of the Truth Regarding Mental Health is been beneficial. Why I'm going to actually pinpoint what I feel that has been beneficial is because when you do become in a group setting, you become a part of something, of a better and a bigger understanding. There's someone that you can talk to, but somebody who you can relate to, and then you share that journey. And I think it's a check-in as well. And I think this is important. We'll get to the end of the day. When someone is in recovery or rediscovery, it becomes a bit of a hold my hand until I quite get there. Do you know what I mean? I'm still in discovery. And when you form these groups, what I'm taking from it and what you've done for John and Nicky and Joe and who am I missing? Somebody missed that one.
And the other Nicky.
Yes, that's right. It is that you have brought everyone together, and right, thank you. You've brought everyone up together. You brought them together to understand that there's more to life than those labels. That's what I really actually took out with that. And go ahead.
Right, I was going to say to Nicky is about reframing your thoughts, because this is about a journey and your story as you go through life. So what you did in your 20s and then what you did in your 30s, or how you thought, is not going to necessarily be the same thing. So as you're going through and what you've been through, reframing that, and also putting in boundaries as well, not just for yourself, but for other people, in terms of things that you won't put up with that we once did. And then just see that you're reclaiming your power and in your space to help you. Yeah, so whilst you're on this journey of recovery. Yeah, because it's quite powerful what you said as well.
Yeah, I mean, so I identify with that. I mean, so like not so like giving so excuses, so like for drinking or reasons. That was so like my path I went down, but you know, so like abusive, so like relationships and sort of stuff like that. It doesn't help, you know. So when you're how can you put it, like your the self-worth is so low, you know, so like you go so like to something so like to make you feel better. Like I say, it's not an excuse, but that is what so like I done, and so like I should have chosen so like another path, but it was so a quick fix, like putting a band-aid on it, so like somebody so like said before. So you know, but you know, so like thankfully so like I'm in a good place so like now. And you know, so we live and learn, and so if my story can help so like somebody else, you know, so like fantastic.
Nicky, you want your story to help yourself.
Of course, but that's having that understanding so like of it. So like, why did you do that? Why didn't you do this instead of doing that?
We don't get into that.
Okay,
Nicky, don't run away from your fear. You stand there and you face it about why you did it, right? And you'll realize it has no power over you. But recognizing why you did once you recognize why you did it, what you'll find is that you'll come through the other end. And so you recognize your own triggers rather than having somebody else telling you what it is and what it's not. And you know, you will no longer put a plaster on it. What you do is you say, okay, I know what, if I don't face this, what I'm going to do. And then you stand there and take all the power out of that situation and face it head on. And guess what? You know what? You'll come through this. You know,
it's one of them things. So like, I mean, so I've heard it so like so many times, but so like, you know, that sort of saying, you're stronger than that, you know. And so I really believe that.
Oh, definitely.
I think, you know, I'm going to go to Joe now. And I think John hit it on the head when he said his label, and they really, what I wrote down the word was guinea pigs. Sorry, I did. And the reason why I wrote down the word guinea pigs is because we were going for people for answers, and totally relate to Don when he says, hold on a minute, you're going for that. And I say this to everyone every day, all the time. If you're going to go to mental health services or psychiatric, you're asking them for a cure. They can give you this and give you that and experiment whether or not you take it, whether or not you do the steps or not. John is actually right in saying what he's saying. And what we're all saying is stems down here.
We're not all saying the same thing. That's the
Well,
point.
the change has to come from within. And the change has to become with understanding first and foremost. That's what I take from healing and recovery. I'm also in recovery, and so I recognize these guys' transformations and understand their transformations, which is a more almost of a swap. Let me swap this unhealthy habit for perhaps something that I've never come across or never explored, and that's my consciousness. And I think that's what we're all trying to sort of say. Replace the negative thinking with a positive action, which will bring a positive outcome. Joe from Suffolk.
I think we have to identify like the problems that like first though before we can start to deal with it.
That's right. It will come when you're fed up of actually repeating the same habits that have got you nowhere. It comes, and especially when you can see that you destroy everybody around you in the midst of that as well. So I think
that is hurtful.
Let's go over to Joe. And
sorry, Joe.
Yeah, no, this is brilliant. Harry, Joe, and Nicky as well. And then, guys, this is brilliant because we're all different. We're all hearing everything, and I know. So I think, Joe, go ahead, and then anyone got any questions from that would like to give their details on it. I mean, we're all here for different experience to learn. So go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I was given my own kind of mental health diagnosis, and also I was sick from a child with chronic fatigue, and it's kind of realizing that that's just where you are at that precise moment. And it's seeing the innocence all the time that actually we didn't know, and we were just doing the best we could. And it's very much hearing what Sid said, that we're all doing the best we can given the thinking we have at that time. And then for me, it's just seeing that all of it's kind of part of this sort of beneficent overall thing of spirit or energy or Mother Nature that's all trying to bring us back to it. And so when we do kind of get into that stressful moments and that, it's all part of the system that he's trying to let us know. And then it's seeing the innocence that, yes, we did these things or this happened at the time, but we were trying our best from what we knew then. And seeing that actually we have a better understanding now. Our understanding is higher now. So now we would do it differently. But we were still innocent at the time. And we're always innocent because we don't know, do we? And we can't blame ourselves for something when we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean,
so I don't know if that's like a naivety. Is it like almost?
It's not a naivety.
I think
no.
We've all got our own thought process, haven't we? And we're all here now, getting someone's level of what we should and how we should. And we're in discovery. What does that mean? How do we do this? And there's many people, we've got to remember we're live as well. And there's people going to want to know, well, how do they change this thought process from the needing every minute to, I don't really need that. It's unimportant. This is what's more important, you know? And I think it's prioritizing, isn't it?
But Nicky, we're here to present something too. Yeah, I really appreciate like what you're saying, and we're not saying it's wrong or anything like that. But
no, I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah. You know, we have something to present to you that has transformed our lives. We know suffering is needless. We understand that. It's a ridiculous thing the state of the world is in. Ridiculous state that people are suffering needlessly. And what we're trying to show you is it is needless. It's not naivety. It's just something you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
It's already there. It's already there. That's why there's no strategies in this. I dealt with a lady who came to me, paid me a whole bunch of money about anxiety. All her anxiety is gone, but I never once talked about anxiety.
Yeah.
They're not trying to mentally figure out what your problem is. That's what's causing your problem. You're mentally thinking about what a loser or what a person you are and what strategy you have to do. It's none of that thinking process. That creates negative form. How do I know, Nicky, when a client has heard something? because that's the only time they change is when they hear something.
Yeah.
The only time, if they start talking about their problem again after they've had a nice feeling, they got nothing.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
whole answer, like the three principles, have a very simple message, which will relate to what Kerry is talking about. Negative feelings lead to mental illness, suicide, problems.
Yeah.
Positive feelings lead to mental health
Mhm.
and
That
suffering.
makes sense.
The more alive you are with the positive feelings, the more you're plugged in
Yeah.
to the truth.
Yeah. Mhm.
All the thinking that you're doing to figure out, that's taking you away from the inner peace. You already
Yeah.
said it. You already said to us very clearly, when I'm calm,
Yeah.
bingo. And when
Yeah.
I'm not calm, I'm messed up.
Yeah.
What
That's very
caused it?
true.
Well, positive feelings, planting positive feeling and getting out of your head. You see, the whole world's in their head.
So it's like hitting the pause button.
Sorry? What
So
you
it's
say?
like hitting almost, so like the pause button. So like just hold
Oh,
on a minute.
Yeah,
Let me
changed.
regroup.
So in our terminology, or Sydney Banks, who's our enlightened teacher,
Okay.
he said, changing thought.
Mm.
When you hit the pause button, you've changed thought. When you change thought, you change the feeling.
That's
When
what
you keep on with the form and creating more negative form, you're creating the other feeling.
Can I challenge
Yes.
that, Harry?
Just a sec, I'm not finished yet. Please, just don't interrupt.
And I suppose the negative overtakes you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you just simply want to explore those positive feelings that you have.
Yeah.
You see, every one of our people will say, you're never been broken.
Mm.
You just think you're broken. That's the illusion you're creating psychologically, mentally, through your thinking.
Mm. So the thing, the mind is a powerful thing though, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievably powerful. Yeah.
Exactly.
Bingo,
Yeah.
bingo, bingo. That is
Yeah.
true. And we underestimate how powerful it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I want you to listen to this. Sydney Banks said, there are not two minds. There's one mind used two different ways. You're already plugged into the universal mind of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what each one of these people have experienced. They haven't experienced the truth as spoken by Harry Derbitsky.
Okay.
They haven't heard that. That would never set them free. They heard something far, far beyond that. And how do I know that? I know who I am. I'm no big healer of this and that. But nonsense. Nonsense. I do know that when people touch those spiritual feelings and realize that they're part of the spirit of everything, their life will never be the same. I do know, as Mark was talking about, that thought is the missing link between spirit and psychology. And that's what we're teaching, a spiritual psychology, with an understanding of the role of thought. As long as you don't have an insight, you see, it's so simple. You can't do what you don't see. And until you have an insight, you will follow the old. But once you have an insight, you've got a new set of eyes and you're on your road to total freedom. Each one of these people are not lower than I am. Each one of these people have something to share with you. And we know,
of course,
Nicky, you have something to share with us. We know that. because we know that wisdom is eternal. It comes from all of you. The privilege.
Yeah, that's experience, I think, isn't it? Like life experience, and just, I mean, so I think so. Like, if you talk about what you know, then so like it's not wrong, is it?
In fact, that's what you should be talking about, what you know and what you have experienced. That's what.
Yeah, not hearsay.
That's what I've been pointing to each one of these people. They all felt insecure about their voice. They were beautiful wisdom.
Own it.
I just said, and Joe, had an image. We need to bring these people in because I can't just be myself. Well, he found out actually he could.
Yeah.
Nicky was the same. Nicky, but she speaks this beautiful wisdom. Just knocked my socks off. But but then I don't feel like I'm always in that, And all she found was her own voice.
It's a powerful thing, isn't it?
It is. And guess what I found? My own voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And be proud to represent yourself as well, I think.
Can I just address that, Faris? I've been waiting to ask a question.
Sorry, I haven't got no pictures on the screen.
No, put your camera on, please. And sorry.
How do I do that?
But Faris, I was waiting to ask a question, Harry. And she's been waiting very patiently. Sorry, Faris.
Yeah. Oh no. Let's
go ahead. I know it's an interesting conversation, and there is so much to ask around this. But go ahead, Faris. Can't hear. There's a.
Hello?
My phone is unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Faris. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying it's not really a question as such. It's just an input. I think most of our recovery comes from us taking ownership of ourselves. It's unfortunate we're born in that world where we start being molded and shaped by somebody else that doesn't know how to give us the space to actually explore ourselves. And once you take ownership of yourself, you take ownership of that powerful thing, the mind. And mind that we've said is a powerful thing. If you take ownership of it, you're going to be able to explore it at will and not allow other people's views, assumptions, conclusions to stop that journey. Like with me personally, I only started self-exploration a few years ago. I come from a culture where as soon as you're born, you're being placed in a certain box. People do what they call observation of your behavior, your mannerisms, the way you carry yourself as a little child, and the labels already start from there. And they start to mold you in what they believe you are from what they're observing, which takes away from you the capacity to explore. I believe every human being can be so many things. You just have to be exploring it. But you get molded by family, by society, and you don't get to explore it. So you grow up maybe with something in the back of your mind that I could be this or I want to be this, but I shouldn't because I'm expected to be this and that because that's what I've been molded to be. So when you then face the ups and downs of life, you're not really responding to them as you. You're responding to them according to how you think people want you to respond to them or how you feel people expect you to respond to them. And that just complicates things that are not really complicated. And the longer you carry on in that vicious cycle, you actually start to believe the value of things is in its complication rather than in its simplicity. I'm a mental health nurse and I'm not practicing at the moment because of this kind of thing. Working as a mental health professional, there's all these tools that they say they're giving you, they're keeping you with tools, and then they give you all these policies and procedures and pathways and whatever, which just restricts everybody. Because as professionals, you believe somebody comes to me, I'm supposed to give them a solution, and that solution is time framed. And that is another restriction as well on individuals, because we have different capacities. I could respond to something quickly and get over it quickly, but somebody else does not respond to the same thing as quickly. And so it's all about taking ownership of yourself. And I would say, because of the world we're living in now, which is all about, we believe things according to numbers. The more of us that believe in this, the more it makes sense. I think you have to be in that position where you make that choice that, you know what, I'm going to explore myself regardless of what people are saying. And you have to be prepared that part of that exploration can be very painful, but going into the pain is your way of coming out of it. I think sometimes we think the pain that I know is better because I've already been there. And you imagine any different kind of pain will just be too much to bear. And you don't actually then allow yourself to realize that sometimes the pain over there is not as bad as the pain that you're in right now. And I think that was my struggle. I'd been groomed and shaped, and I just could never imagine me coming out of that box that had taken years to perfect in order to please and to, you know, to tick the boxes. And only a few years ago, after being in a car accident, when I realized that, you know what, I could actually die and I'd have lived my whole life being somebody else or so many other somebody else's. And never, ever had I given myself time to be me. And I thought, wow, I've lived everybody's pain that they've inflicted on me. Why don't I try my own pain and see where that takes me? The amazing thing is my own pain was not that bad. It was there, but it was not that bad. And I think I tend to, I won't say don't go to somebody else to help you, but I prefer to look at it as facilitation, or looking for facilitation rather than looking for answers. Because no one can give you answers to things that they can't see. You see yourself, allow yourself to see yourself in and out, and then express yourself like people are doing right here. Then you get the facilitation. And at the end of the day, it's your act, your choice.
It is a facility. That's all. See, the joke is for CZ, excuse me, is that there is no answer. The answer is you're dancing in the moment, facilitating, and it will come out.
Yeah.
It actually,
if you're looking for an answer, it's accepting.
Looking for an answer is like being a slave to your own mind. You want, there is no answer. There is a feeling.
Yeah.
And when the feeling comes out, it has a sound, the sound of perfection, the sound of total accuracy, the sound of a fact. And how do you know that it's true? It's because you have that fact inside yourself.
Yeah.
So we actually have nothing to tell you guys, nothing at all, because
when people say they're looking for answers,
we are not. What we're looking for is for this feeling to come out. So when our group comes together, the reason it works, because if it was just intellectual, it would be dead now. It would be absolutely dead. But it keeps growing because each member wants to dance with that feeling. And
But
that feeling is healing. That feeling totally washes away what you thought the world was, because it's real. And that real feeling allows you to cry within yourself.
I guess when people talk about answers, you then look at that feeling that is positive rather than negative. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it healing. You can call it a solution. You can call it an answer. These are just words that we are using to identify what it is you're looking for. So if you're looking for an answer, you're basically looking for something that you find is not so negative. If you're struggling with something and you want to feel different, that positive, different feeling is what you would call an answer. Sometimes when you say to somebody there's no answer, that can be quite difficult to take, quite difficult to grasp, because you're obviously looking for something. If you're feeling something negative, you want to feel positive. That's what that thing that you're looking for is the answer. And if you say it's not an answer, then you can be found then asking, so what am I looking for? You're looking for something different that's positive. And
So
that is the answer.
maybe we can finish this off with ask each of these four people, what are they looking for?
Yeah.
Maybe we could, each one of you guys, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that one thing that for us, I would say that seeking the thing that I seek the most, that energy, is love. It's the ability to love and trust myself.
Yeah.
And from that comes the belief in what I can actually do. And beliefs can affect things so dramatically in major ways.
Yeah, definitely.
What one belief that is quite astounding when you think about it. In 1954, the world's belief on one thing changed, which was how fast a man could run a mile. A man ran a mile in 4 minutes. Did anybody ever question, had anybody since the dawn of time run a mile faster than 4 minutes? Of course they had, but they just didn't believe it. The world record now is 3 minutes 46 seconds. That's like giving the person, I think it is, 14-second head start. Stood there and letting the person go. It's a massive gap. And it's all down to love yourself, believe yourself, trust in yourself, and the rest will follow.
Beautiful, Mark, beautiful. Go ahead, guys, someone else of the other three. Beautiful, Mark, that was gorgeous.
I'll go. I mean, it's that kind of the silence that we're born from, and it comes from that tranquility, and the answers will come from there. And it's just that trust that, I mean, it's kind of what came to me. It's like there's an old tree in my garden, and it's just kind of like a bit of a stump and a few stumps out of it, and it looks dead. And it's been like that for ages. And we just thought that was the end of the tree. And now there's like little green shoots growing out of it. And you think that's nature, and we are that tree as well, and we're part of that tree, and always nature. And if you look at like the California fires, where everything was just wiped out, and then 2 weeks later, little green shoots were growing again. And so always when we can kind of trust in it, it will kind of bring it back to us and heal us. And I mean, it's kind of even like, it reminds me like my father, when he was, he'd had a heart operation and he was in a coma, and basically they called us up the hospital and said like, they just basically thought that was it for him. And then he was in a coma and he got better. And that was kind of like the doctors just said that was a miracle. And I mean, if you listen to Anita Majana's another one, a lady who had stage 4 cancer, and she was in a coma and they told her that was the end. And then she had her, what they would call a near-death experience, and she recovered from that. And so there's all these stories of people who have been told that they can never get better or they're going to die. And then they for some reason, they heal because they connect to the spirit and that, and it does heal. And the doctors can't explain it. No one can explain it through science and that. And it's realizing that when we do kind of trust that and let it come through us, I mean, it can heal us from the impossible and what would be considered unhealable. And so whatever people tell you that you can't get better, and I was told I couldn't get better, that actually they don't really know what we can get better from, and they don't know what the power of the universe and the power of nature and the power it's got to us. And when it comes to us, the power is beyond our comprehension. We just don't know, do we? And if anything's possible.
That's beautiful.
Nicky Davison, did you want to elaborate?
Yeah, sure. I would. I was kind of thinking what Mark said, in that the thing that we're searching for, although like I kind of don't like the idea of searching, because in that searching it actually takes us further away from the thing that we want. But just to see that we are love, and to actually see that for ourselves. I think sometimes we can see that others are love, but to actually see that for ourselves. And for me, what this understanding has brought for me is hope and possibility. And it when I think about situations that I've been in and times that I've been through, I didn't ever think it would be possible to have a different experience of life and have a different experience of myself. And this understanding has shown me that there is always hope and there is always possibility. And possibility and hope come from seeing that we are love.
Thank you. I'm aware that Rick hasn't spoke, and I'm aware that Susan hasn't spoke.
Can we let John answer that question?
Of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just say this. I think, this is what comes to my mind is that as a kid, I was extremely anxious and panicky. And I was always looking for answers. Always looking for answers. What is this about? What's that about? What's life about? And I asked my dad a question once, and my dad said to me, John, your problem is you think too much. And he was speaking the truth, of course, but I didn't know that. I mean, he was actually speaking the truth, but he didn't even know he was speaking the truth. And what I heard was, yeah, I'm thinking because no one's ever given me any answers. And all that did to me was make me think more and more and more. And now I'm learning the nature of thought, how it creates our experience, right? And I'm thinking less and less and less. There's a place inside of all of us. It's innate health, it's peaceful, and it's extremely quiet, and silence itself speaks. That's all I'll say.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Right, where am I going to go? Adrian, do you have anything to say? Because I know when Rick gets started, he's very spiritual. We're going there. So just to add, I'm aware that those people haven't spoken. So please let me give them a chance to have an opportunity of experiencing something different today. So
yeah, I'm good to let Rick go ahead. Kerry, far more experience in this field than I am, so feel free.
Yeah, and it is good, Harry, to have different points of views, because if we all stuck to the same point of view, then there's definitely no lessons in it. And I think it's great to have different minds on here. We've all got different thought process, but the aim is the same. Ricky, go ahead.
Adrian, are you trying to tell me you got nothing to contribute?
Here go the coaches.
Anyway, thank you for that, Adrian. I appreciate you. The only question I have right now is I know some of you are in the school or you let's say follow the works of Sydney Banks. It's funny because I did want to talk to other individuals about Sydney and his life,
Hey.
but I think that the highlight of this video Zoom broadcast, and maybe this is the first one. I don't know the second one. I don't know how many of these are, but it would have been nice to actually hear someone do a little, not necessarily mass presentation or lecture about Sydney Banks, but tell us a little bit more about the background, because I'm sure there's one or two of us on here that don't really or have not really heard of Sydney Banks.
Mhm.
So, you know, if for me personally speaking, if you're going to present something, then, you know, I think that you should be speaking about the individual that you're presenting or has influenced you in your life, if that makes any sense.
Well, I feel like we're full now, so I don't want to get into that. But we're
Right,
going to
right.
come on once a month, but not the whole group the next time. We'll just bring one person or so, and we'll discuss how we want to do that. And the next time we come on, which will be in a month's time, we'll talk specifically about that. It's our pleasure to share that. But again, in this format of just coming together, we went where we went, and it's a very valid question. But if you do want to take a look at him before that, there's lots on YouTube.
Well, I've seen, like I said in the beginning.
But we will definitely specifically talk on that topic, and we'll make that the title of the next show.
Great, that's a good one. That's a good one. Ricky,
You know, just to put it in perspective, I'm a student. I lived on the island on Salt Spring with Sydney Banks as my teacher. The others have not, and it makes no difference.
Mm-hmm.
The message is the truth is the message, not the man. But the reality of it is he did have an enlightenment experience, and we'll talk about that and go from there. But we're full now. We've really had a lot of different things. So it's a good place to, there's a nice feeling now. Can you feel it? There's a nice feeling. That's the answer.
Rick, you're always going on about spiritual and listen to the ancestors and listen to the inner thought, mind, thought. You're always doing that, aren't you? I think we are strangers from all over the world here. I'm from Suffolk. Harry, you're calling from Canada, I think.
Yeah, I'm from Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, Suffolk.
The others are from this strange country. What's it called, Joe? It's England. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's been a great discussion. There's never enough time to get a lot of information out, but we got some out today. You know, we're talking about mental health, and there is a lot of people out there trying to find those answers. And although they may have heard different versions of recovery today and how transforming the mind is beneficial, some people are still going to not know how to do that, and then they're still looking for that answer. For me, there's a level of support, and there's a level of you need to do it on your own. And I think that sometimes when people are crawling desperate for survival, and I'm going to be very mindful of where people's state of minds can be and what their journeys and what they've gone through. And we're not talking about it. You can't just go like that. You'd like to go like that, waking up, control when you hit rock bottom. That's when generally people wake up. But we're trying to get them to wake up now before they hit the rock bottom and look that there is other alternatives, but they may not know how to do those other alternatives if they're still in a wrong crowd of people. They're still being guided to doing something criminal or whatever else. You are going to say, right, hold on a minute. It's within your thought process, and you are the one that is responsible for any action that you will take. But some people are in a different level of growth, and that's something that takes to understand. And so I sit here and I listen, and I am debatable. That's just who I am. And when I look at this situation, what we're actually looking for is role models, in a sense. Like you had Sydney Banks as a role model to, he speaks common sense. Why should I follow Sydney Banks' method? Okay. And so therefore, going into detail and understanding what Sydney Banks, if you don't, I didn't know who he was. So you gave me a piece of literature. I listened to the literature. He's got my way of thinking. So it's not really about, it is about what's in within us, because there is, somebody can just trigger a message which is already within us. It's a fight for survival. And I think we are at different levels of our life in what we've gone through. And it isn't easy to get out of a situation by the power of the mind if you're perhaps held in a domestic violence situation. And so you are going to need tools to have to get out of that, or somebody whisper in your ear, hey, psst, come this way, it's healthier. Because that's what you're saying. Messengers come from individual people. And each and every one has given a testimonial today to say, listen, I'm not governed by that label, mental health. I'm not going to allow that label or condition to suck me into nothing. I'm bigger than that label. I am. That is the word, isn't it? That's what you're saying, right? I am bigger than that label. And I really have to put it on a line that those labels really have held many people back. And you're right. And I used to say this to Nicky, why do you keep going to the AA? How is that helpful? And yeah, but I meet the people. It's all about the people and the discovery of the journey of where they're achieving. But I kept saying, but I wouldn't want to stand up there and say I'm an alcoholic, because I'm not. I wouldn't want to stay up there and say I've done this, because I'm not. The labels that are put are just simply to identify. But we must have to identify the meaning of life, what it is. How can we travel this journey without harm? And that's the biggest key, isn't it? Harm-free. Do we do harm to ourselves? Are we doing it to other people? And if so, how can we change and live healthier, more free? And as Farisai rightly said earlier, that we thought for everybody else, we stopped thinking for ourselves during mental health. And that's been our downfall. And I think as you grow, and some people are like 20, 18, 16, 17, are only just beginning. So I have another role to play within finding the pursuit of mental health. I know what recovery means and what it takes to change the thought process. But my mission is to pick other people up and say, come this way, we're going this way, because this is a more healthier way of living. And so that's my role, Harry. Let me go get him and fix him. Nicky is a classic example of where finding the right person, the right tool to give you the right prompting in your imagination, in your memory, because it's them that's doing the work, is helpful to find the right guide. It's very helpful to find the right guide. And I think what you're demonstrating here today is that people are listening, showing up, and putting plan to action to change. Does that make sense, what I'm saying, guys? Would you disagree or agree?
Can I say something?
Yeah, please do, Rick. I've been waiting. You were quite quiet today.
No, I wasn't going quiet. I just wanted to, ask a question. But now what I want to do is, I think there's a difference between, doing the works, do you understand, and actually being inspired by other people. Yeah. There's other people out there that they inspire us, they empower us, they can illuminate us, and you could say, give us more clarity, you know.
Mm.
And you know, I'm very happy for those people, and I'm really, you know, I've got my favorites. You understand what I'm saying? But the thing is, it's like when you now are in the position where you're actually now helping those individuals, you understand, uh, in regards to, you know, people that are suffering from psychological illnesses or conditions, you understand, you can't, you know, it's not practical to say, well, I've got this individual that I follow, or has inspired me, or this, that, and the other. You can't just give that over to that individual, because the first point of call is obviously whether they need to be assessed, for, you know, even though you called it, you know, being a guinea pig, some people, they have to be instantaneously put on medication, sadly, you understand. And that's only for, obviously it should be, if you're a professional, it should be just on a temporal basis. There's other individuals that, for instance, you know, they need to be put on, and they want to take their life, so they have to be assessed again and put, you know, in a position where, you know, we are having to make sure that they don't take their life. You know what I'm saying? So individuals that can inspire, empower, and illuminate things for us are wonderful, and they have their place in society. But but the thing is, you also have to take in consideration social engineering. You know, we call it programming. The new wave of generation now calls it the matrix, etc., etc. So but the thing is, it's like, you know, what I'm noticing is, you know, one of the big factors that is making a lot of the younger generation, especially, not that I want to demonize them or blame them for any, you know, them only. Yeah, because I feel it's a collective thing. Just like Joe from Suffolk said, you know, we are one of a bigger picture. We're all part of a bigger picture. You understand what I'm saying? But the thing is, it's like, for me, it's like we have to take responsibility in recognizing that there's a transference going on. The transference that I can see going on right now is that the younger generation have seen adults behave a particular type of way on technology, for instance, and they now have transferred something that was natural nature, you know, uh, and they've transferred nature to technology. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
the thing is, just like more people end up on technology. Technology is a wonderful tool if it's used properly, but the thing is that we can influence the next generation. And even not just the next generation, but even adults now are being hooked, you know, onto certain things. Like I do a teaching on fasting, for instance. Now, as soon as I use the word fasting, most people associate fasting with food, or, you know, or with liquid. You understand? But actually, I promote, you know, fasting from technology, fasting from whatever type of, you know, if you know that your diet is not good, fasting from genetically modified food, fasting from, you know, talking in a abusive fashion towards your child or your wife or your spouse or your friends or your acquaintances. You know, we've got to, you know, it's not just one element that's actually going to save humanity. However, one individual has the power to influence humanity. We're seeing that right now in this pandemic, I call it, you know, where the government is, at the end of the day, showing us only a certain amount of information, but the information that we really need to make a proper balanced view of what really is happening, they're not showing us that. We have to obviously, you know, examine that and look at that for ourselves, because there's nothing stopping us. But unfortunately, social engineering, as I said, you know, many people think so. There is no such thing as social engineering, just like they think recently there's no such thing as institutional racism, etc., etc. But it's very convenient, as I said, to be placed in the position where you are sitting in those high places of so-called authority and deny all these things, when in reality these things actually do exist. But because you're now in a position of so-called authority or power, which is mostly an illusion, to be honest with you, you know, you're able to supposedly um, weave your truth. You understand? And truth is very dangerous, because, you know, at some point, you know, in neo-Nazi Germany, everybody eventually, through the propaganda and again social engineering, you know, thought at some point that Hitler was telling them the truth. And I can see, I can.
So thank you guys. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Appreciate
Thank you, Harry.
all that stuff.
Are
See
you
you.
off? Okay, Harry, are you off?
I'm
I
on.
also have to leave as well. I need to be somewhere at 7.
All right, we had okay,
See you, Mark.
let me just round this up. Hold up for 2 seconds. If you want to know about Harry Derbitsky and Sydney Banks' theory pursuit of the truth regarding mental health, where can they find you, Harry? Sorry, Rick, just give me a second. Where can I find you, Harry?
acttraining.biz is my website, and there's lots of podcasts and also about the group. You just click on the button "Pursuit of Truth Regarding Mental Health," and you'll see that. You can hear Joe and I's talk we did last week. Had different feeling than this one, and
that's because we're all different. And I think, you know, Rick hit on one name and you go, I'm out of here now. And I think it may be what I've taken from it is pursuit of the truth regarding mental health. We have heard everyone's stories, and we're understanding what you're saying. But for the newcomers that are not understanding of what you're saying, that there will be a different level of questioning on something completely different.
Everything is different, of course. You know, that's the
it is, and
the beauty of life, to be honest, and what makes it interesting. If all the soup tastes the same, we would get pretty tired of it. So absolutely, this is a different soup. So thank you very, very much, everybody. Very much enjoyed. Thanks for your sharing, and my heart goes out to you guys. Lots of love.
Thanks for me too.
Thank you, Harry. Susan, you had a question, didn't you?
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Harry. Bye-bye. Guys, if anybody else would like to leave, please do so. We are in the middle of live. We did have 14 minutes left, and Susan hasn't even asked us a question yet. And so, all right, I'm going to just say as we leave it here, Susan, please do say something if you want to. And if anybody wants to go, this is live, this is real life, this is Pursuit of the Truth, this is the truth. And we're in the minute and we're in the moment. So feel free. Susan. Yep. And I really, Rick, I apologize for in the middle of interruption there as well. And it is quite busy today of trying to get everyone's voice in.
I was just gonna finish by saying truth is subjective. So at the end of the day, my truth, you know, might not be your truth. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, what I always try to do is I try to show people reality. Yeah. Or I I don't try to show them my reality, because again, that can be subjective. What I try to do is first of all, I try to find out. I exercise what I want for myself. So if I want to be patient, tolerant, and all these other wonderful words, I then have to do that with other individuals. Before you even, you know, say whatever you want to say to another individual, I think you need to find out a little bit about them, you know. So then you can understand their form of what they conceive as reality. You see what I'm trying to say? And then from then on, you know what I'm saying, then you could start, that's where conversations are sparked, you know, that are going to be long-term conversations rather than just a short spark and that's it in the wind. But that's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to finish.
No, I appreciate it. I think we all have our own thought processes. Yeah. Susan, do you want to do you want to have a say so, Sue? You all right? She's fine. She's on mute, but I can't hear her. You all right? It's on mute. Mute. It's on mute, darling. Your camera's on mute. Hi.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, what did you find of it? Did you find it interesting?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, it was very interesting. It was nice to know that everybody sort of like had found spirituality. That was wonderful. And my only thing that I would have added to that, I mean, coming from the background of hypnotherapists and clinical and psychotherapists, one of the things that I've learned, and one of the things with how we approach things is that, you know, we don't need to really know the person's pain or the past that they've been through. We don't need to know that. It's not a necessity unless they feel they have to tell you. It's not something that we dig into, because we're looking about taking you forward. Right. But one of my things that I would just say is that what I've learned for myself is that paradise is not a place, it's a consciousness. So that's all I have to add. Paradise is just not a place. You know, paradise is your consciousness. And that's how I would say we find happiness, you know, and that spirituality, which is also very important. It's one of the elements of us as human beings. And as Ricky would say, being connected to the ancestors, you know, we've all got our truths within us, and it is about finding that. I don't think it's necessarily about searching for answers. It's about finding what resonates with you. Yeah, that's my thing anyway. It's about what resonates with you as a person. But yeah, it was fabulous. I enjoyed what everybody had to contribute. It was nice listening. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it was completely different, something new that we've had on Mom Project. We have not had Pursuit of the Truth regarding mental health on the Mom Project. I mean, you know, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it real, as I always am, and this is my truth, okay? What the Mind Over Matter project does, or the Mom Project, Mind Over Matter, means it is a mind over matter. And I think that is exactly the same kind of aim as what Harry's kind of sort of saying, Pursuit of the Truth regarding mental health. Well, it's no different to what I'm saying, mind over the matter. And I think for myself, we have a level of different understanding and a different love language when we're projecting out to the members. And it's great to hear different points of view. I did feel, and this is my truth, that a meeting is a meeting when it's not over until it's over. That's my truth. Second of all, I do believe that I do my own method. I have my own method. And the method is the mind over matter. So again, it's all the same aim. We're all trying to be happy here, aren't we? We're all trying to replace negativity. We're all trying to not be our labels. We're all trying to understand people's patterns of behavior and how to avoid it, how to not get ourselves into that situation. But definitely, most of all, we're definitely striving to be a better person, well, some of us anyway. And so therefore, I think coming together, exploring and having different opinions, different perceptions, has been an eye-opener today. And I think your truth, my truth, truth's in the ear of the beholder. Whoever's going through it, wherever they are, wherever they need to go, then the message is going to come from, you never know. And that could be from the unknown, and you don't know. But what you do with those messages and from the help that cometh your way, then it's up to you. You throw it back in someone's face, or do you take, that's a new idea. I might try that. I might try positive thinking, and there's nothing wrong with that. Guys, thank you so much. Like I said, Harry said you could find Harry Derbitsky and Joe at acttraining.biz. Is that correct? I think that was. And if you want to know anything about Mind Over Matter or anything else, then you can find us up at www.momproject.co.uk. Hopefully we'll be back next month to hear more on Pursuit of the Truth and hear what they've got to say. So till the opportunity arises again, thank you all for joining us. Yeah, so that was Pursuit of the Truth regarding mental health. That was with Harry Derbitsky and Joe Fletcher. What an interesting meeting, completely interesting meeting. What I took from that is, and you stated this, Suzanne, that you found that everybody, majority in there, spoke about how broken they were at one point, but realized that they found their spirituality,
Yeah.
their own inner consciousness, their spirituality, consciousness, higher consciousness. I've written down all a person wants is to be loved. That's something you said, and then I realized that culture plays a big part, but it doesn't. But it could be in conversations when we're talking about culture, addiction, recovery, expectations. We're looking at everybody's got a different journey, and some people, even within the group, has really traumatic experiences, and they're still in recovery, trying to discover. So coming here with Pursuit of the Truth regarding happiness, mental health, I think what that done to me today, explored, particularly for Nikki, I realized that she had to think about something out of that interview, and that was, well, whether or not it's the trying something different without medication, but discuss that with your GP or whoever's responsible for your medication. Discuss that, because that's a big thing. Like I said, she's 3 years sober, so we don't know if she would experience a psychosis. I know that, as I know Nikki's history, she never had psychosis before until the alcohol, and when now the alcohols are limited, she's functioning, she's doing so beautifully well. Her kids are flourishing, she's flourishing, she's positive, she gives back. That's her contribution, telling her story, and this is what the guys on the group did today, is tell their story as a contribution to, hold on a minute, we all can be ill, we all can experience bad things, we all but how are we going to leave? Are we going to allow that to take our life? When are we going to identify that we really can change the destination, we can change the outcome, and sometimes the outcome may have to come with a plan? And that's what I was trying to show the other side, that with us is that we have to provide that support. Just that, take that hand, that's what you call it, take my hand temporarily, but you're going to have to walk on your own again. So really, when we take someone that has been through traumatic experience and they call themselves broken, I'll say, hold on a minute, but you can still, the pieces are still there, even if they're shattered, they are there on a pile. We can put those back together again and dust off the dust, and have the unwanted seams removed, and I think when we it is about expectations of life, and that can come from individual people, as we know. And I think, but what's the expectation of you? How do you want your life to be? How do you want it to look like? And how you're going to get there, the what, the whys, and the how. And I think it's what people are looking for, is the how. So if anything that today's group has done, as far as brought awareness, even if it's different opinions, different views, we all speak a different love language, but the meaning is all the same: well-being, health, and well-being. We want you to get better, and if somebody is bringing something and putting it on the table as a solution to thought process, then that's something for you to think about, isn't it? If you want more of Harry, you know where to find him. As we said, I'll put the link here and all his details. Pursuit of the Truth regarding mental health. Please do go ahead. But we are a suicide prevention, mental health support and awareness. And we cover not just the talking ability, we have to do the advocacy. So Susan, again, you see, this is another point when we know we say Pursuit of the Truth regarding mental health. You can't just free up the mind like that, particularly if you're faced up against paperwork. And you know this as well as I know this, as that when we're doing advocacy and there's like legal documents and things like that, that person cannot be set free from that situation when there's more than one person involved in it. But how to manage it is what we teach. How to manage those small stepping stones to change, and that's what we're looking for. Change is not about one another against each other and argue about you're right, I'm wrong. There's no rights and there's no wrongs in something each one of us have learned. But what we have to reach is a basic human understanding. That's my final word. I'll let you close up.
Well, I would just say self-actualization. That's the one.
If you need help, right, and you need some support, Susan, actually, you heard her earlier, she does hypnotherapy, psychology, gym stuff, fitness stuff, and, you know, and she can talk, and she's always a good listener as well. I think, you know, her service is available, so if you want to know more, contact myself at www.momproject.co.uk, and trust me, there are people here to help.
Definitely, most definitely.
And if you haven't known, I'm going to raise this because I like to name people that have done amazing things. I want to say that there is Paul Abraham, who wrote a book, Small Steps to Change. I think that's completely the right title. Let me get it. A fantastic book. Gives you a step-by-step as well. Not far off of Harry or Sydney Banks, you know, theory of the thought process. The book is called Small Steps to Happy and a Successful Life. It's a philosophy and it's by Paul Abraham, and I cannot say what the other word is. K-I-Z-E-M. See, everybody has a way and a message of, please do it my way, it works. But I think that's it. Show and tell, isn't it? Show and tell. Somebody speaking life into you and say, come on, I'm listening to you. Just think, if somebody is there for somebody else, then there is a tool there. And we will pass through lots of people to get those tools to get us to the destination. That's the messengers. What we always say is, don't choose the messengers. I'm just the messenger. What these people brought today to the table, was their own opinions, their own mind, their own thought process, and what they perhaps would like, desire. The rest is up to you. What you've heard from this conversation today is entirely up to you. It's about the mind and mind over matter. Thank you, Susan. Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you to everybody that participated and gave back in awareness. And if you're watching this, please do like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mind Over Matter, Suicide Prevention. And also share the awareness by simply sharing out what you've seen and heard today. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
More